Welcome everyone to Discourse. Today we're going to be discussing The Beast of Talbotton, an All Hallows Eve tale by Kevin Matthew Hayes. Did I say that right? An All Hallows Eve tale? Yeah? Perfect. Alright.
Pretty sure.
Let's read this motherfucker. Readers seeking chills and thrills to go along with their Southern Gothic historical novel will find just that in this intense tale of tragic star-crossed lovers and a werewolf stalking a town. In Talbotton, Georgia, American Civil War soldier David Cantwell scorned marriage for true love and now must confront the monstrous consequences of his choice. Furred and fanged terror grips the night as a werewolf attacking his cavalry leads to dark secrets being revealed. By choosing love, has Cantwell doomed himself and others? A supernatural story during the American Civil War that perfectly blends Southern Gothic and monster legends, The Beast of Talbotton makes for a one-of-a-kind pulse-pounding adventure for fans of history and horror alike. Oops. I like to do that shit.
That did tell the whole story.
I told you.
I'm gonna try not to talk about werewolves. And
Yeah.
there it is.
If the synopsis says it, we'll just talk about it.
God damn. Okay. Whatever. Okay. Yeah, so this story takes place in 1864 during the Civil War at Talbotton, Georgia. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly.
Yeah.
And so this is a Southern Gothic horror, like supernatural story. So perfect for Halloween, upcoming holiday, or just in general if you want to read to your kids, teens, whatever, get them scared in the night. It's a good story to tell them.
What?
Don't
Abel.
be scared. It scared me a little bit.
Cut all that out, please. Jesus.
Why?
To read to your kids, your children, and your children's children. What? Anyways, say that again. What?
Okay. All of it?
No, just say it's like a cool horror story for people who like horror. I don't know.
Yeah. So this is a cool, like, gothic horror story, perfect for Halloween. Or just any time you want to get into the spirit of horror.
You want to have a little spine-tingling story to read.
Mm-hmm. And a little history, because it takes place in 1864 during the Civil War, and it follows a group of Union soldiers who head into Georgia, and sorry, David Cantwell. Yeah, led by Captain O'Connor, or David Cantwell, as we heard. Don't say heard. Don't keep heard. Whatever.
I think he knows what to cut out because that sounded stupid. Let's go. You got this. You are a smart, intelligent man. Let's go.
Huh.
I thought you were going to start crying.
No, not in front of Tony. Okay. So in the town as they head in, they're like, so are you guys just passing through or what? Because everyone's scared. There's, fighting here and there and soldiers everywhere. So, but what do you call that?
Yeah, the town people, like the town that they walk into or they ride into, they're a little unsure. They're a little uneasy. They're kind of like, okay. First, right. I think they were kind of like, are you guys the good guys or the bad guys? And then once they come in, announce themselves, they're kind of like, okay, cool, we're good. But like, what's going on? Like, why are you here?
Does it mean the bad guys are on the way?
Right,
That's
exactly.
Why you're here to protect the town? Or are you just passing through?
Yeah. And then also, too, there's that whole, like, even him and his unit don't even really know why. Because they were kind of reassigned to this town. And they're kind of like, okay, I guess. But maybe he's thinking, like, it's just the chaos of war.
Yeah. From Captain O'Connor. I received a change in orders. We have been rerouted to meet some supply wagons here before we join up with forces south of Atlanta. I would like to head a little farther up the road, just outside of town.
So him and his unit, they end up staying at the
Councilman Persons.
Yeah, Councilman Persons. That's ranch. His last name. His ranch. Because, ranches are huge, so he has plenty of space for all these soldiers to take up camp.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, I own a flock of sheep, so just follow the smell. You'll get there. They
Gross.
started cracking. I was like, yeah, I know the smell.
Yeah.
Because David, Captain O'Connor, he has a history of that town. He even met this high class, woman that everyone follows or wants, Elizabeth, right? And then the councilman's like, yeah, here's Elizabeth, so. And the captain's like, yeah, we've met. There's a dark past right there.
I know, it's kind of strange. At first, you're kind of like, oh, okay. But it almost seemed like he wasn't really, like, it wasn't brought to our attention, at least in his perspective, that he knew this town and, like, was from this town.
Yeah.
Until, like, he's like, yeah, we met. And so you're kind of like, oh, well, how and why?
Mm-hmm.
And she was a little kind of short with him, not, like, angry. She
Very
didn't...
blunt and, like, yeah,
you're
here for a little bit, all right.
To the point, kind of just was like, yeah, we know each other, whatever.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a little weird, too. You're kind of like, what? So
Mm-hmm.
that kind of puts you on, like, a little, like, what's their story? Because there's obviously a story there. Gossip. Hot gossip.
A lot of gossip. Yeah. So they head up to the ranch. Everything's all plain and whatever. But they wake up. The soldiers wake them up. They found someone dead.
Dude, I know. Yeah. I was like, whoa, this took a turn quick. Like, so the author definitely does a really good job setting up the space, right? The characters, you kind of already
Mm-hmm.
get a feel for, like, who they are as a person, right?
It's like time, place, location.
Yeah. Right, yeah, we're set there really quickly, and the author does a really good job kind of bringing it all to life. I really felt like, yes, we were in 1864. Like, I really could imagine the soldiers on their horses, like, tired from their travels, and I don't know, them just talking, like, even the language and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I could hear accents and stuff. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, and even the soldiers, the captain was mentioning that they mostly enlisted just to get it over with.
Right.
Like, do their time and go back to the way life was before in the South.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't really, it seemed like they didn't really care. They were just there for a job.
Mm-hmm.
And...
yeah, and then, like, so like you said, the soldier...
How do you say Mikanapi?
I don't know. I would say that, Mikanapi.
Yeah, it's the Mikanapi Mounted Company.
Yeah, something like that.
From Florida. So, I know I might be butchering the name, but it was a mounted company. Union soldiers.
Yeah.
Union? Whatever, don't put that.
So you mentioned that on the very first night, soldier that was on the, like, because he had them patrolling. I was gonna say paroling people. So he had some of his soldiers, like, patrolling,
like, on
stuff.
the defense perimeter, like, he was on watch.
Yeah, and so one soldier ends up dead, and like, not just dead, like, butchered.
Yeah, and they're like, it looks like a bear attacked him.
Right.
And it looked like a scuffle, and he was even still holding a knife, and there was his musket or whatever on the side of him. He didn't get to fire. He just got attacked and killed right off the bat. Like,
yeah, so right away, we're already, like, we're in a new place, a new setting. I mean, us as readers, we're kind of like, okay, we're still getting the feel of this place. Like, we see it, we're here, but, like, oh my God, someone just, like, died.
Yeah, it's like, is it the enemy? Is it Indians?
Yeah, like, what is this? And now you're kind of, like, on edge. You're a little uneasy. You're kind of like, what is going on? Mm-hmm. And then, do we just want to skip forward to, like, the next night? Like, the next night, the same thing happens?
Kinda. Well,
okay. Or just saying this is, like, a recurring event?
Well, yeah. I think you could flow with this. Yeah, and then, so, since they're at the ranch of the councilman Persons, he comes out because he's all up in their business too. Like, he's not sleeping. He's watching these guys. He's like, whoa, what happened here? Right. Like, I heard a commotion. And he sees the dead soldier. He's like, whoa, no bear did that. Like, I've seen that before.
Right.
It was a werewolf.
Yeah.
And the captain, everyone else looking at him like...
they're like, have you lost your damn mind, sir?
What are you talking about? Like, no, it was something, but it wasn't a werewolf. Like, crazy, man.
Yeah. So,
but... it seemed like every night or every other night.
Yeah, it was just recurring. Like, another person would die, another one of his soldiers. And so you're starting to think, like, is this enemy people, like, attacking the soldiers at nighttime? Because that's when they're most vulnerable. They can't really see very well, and a lot of them are asleep. And
what sucks is that they can't leave because their whole mission was to wait for the supply wagon. And
so I'm like, man, when is the supply showing up? Because we are getting just taken out over here.
And as they bring it up to the town, they're all kind of like, oh yeah, that happens every Halloween or every year. And
right. And I'm
what?
like, that's not, I mean, maybe that's like a thing that happens around here, but that's not like a normal thing. Like, that's weird. So there's like this mystery going on. Everything's super scary. I mean, I don't do well with reading horror and stuff. I get scared really easily. So I felt like reading this, I was kind of like, oh God, what's happening? Like, I don't know if I could read this before bedtime. Yeah. It was not pleasant.
Yeah, and then it takes like a...
Because it gets a little gory, and you're like, oh man, all right.
Yeah, those attacks get gory. But then it kind of it gets sidetracked when the Captain O'Connor talks to Mr. Barron, Elizabeth's father, who apparently he's like, he's big with the politicians, the businessmen.
Or at least at one point he was. And so at this point, this is when we start to get more of the backstory and more of the hot gossip between
the
captain and Elizabeth. So we're kind of like, oh, now we understand why Elizabeth was the way she was and acting the way she was acting around O'Connor.
The families did an arranged marriage.
Yeah, so O'Connor's father and then Mr. Barron, they came into an agreement that their kids, who are Elizabeth and Captain O'Connor, that they would be married. But Dave, whatever, O'Connor, he was not into that. He was like, my heart doesn't lie with Elizabeth, it lies with Martha. And so he kind of just bounces on their wedding day, which I'm like, what? That's crazy.
What do they call that?
A woman scorned.
She was left planted at the altar? What do they say? She
was left at the altar, dude. I don't know. They said something in the book?
No, there's like a saying.
Oh. Well, she was a woman scorned. I just want to keep saying that.
So, he left her there, didn't tell anyone, ran away with Martha.
Yeah, changed his identity.
And apparently, Elizabeth, high class, politicians, they were going to rule the world, join the government, whatever, run the Senate. And then he ran away with Martha, who Dave's, Captain O'Connor's father, thought was like low class and he was going to ruin the family's reputation.
Or at least not someone that can like help their status, right? I feel like especially in this time, especially like kind of still nowadays, to be honest, but more so before the early 1900s, it was more like, who do you know and how well are you known and what do you have? What you got going on in your pockets, basically.
So they ran away.
Yeah, so Dave
got
ran away.
Married.
He was like, screw the money, screw the comfort. I'm going to go marry Martha, and we're going to just live on the road and find our own place in this world.
Yeah. And he even actually sent, it wasn't a hitman, but they sent someone to find him. Yeah. The families weren't having it.
I'm like, these people had so much money. They even paid for people to go and hunt them down. Like, that's intense. That's, like, a lot of money. I'm just saying. Especially in that time. Like, you had that kind of money to spare. How about you just, spend it on the town or... I don't know, buy yourself a new wagon or whatever it is they drove.
Or find your daughter a new guy. Like,
that too. Pay somebody. I don't know.
Apparently, because obviously she's still not married.
Right, but like she's like a beautiful person too, and so like I don't think he had anything against her. I think it was just like, I just don't love you. So,
yeah, it was crazy. So yeah, David Cantwell is now David O'Connor for obvious reasons. Yeah. But now he's back in the town.
Right. So he's back where it kind of all began, and he's kind of coming to amends with his past.
Yeah, and he joined the army just to like make a living and send money back to his wife and kid.
Child, yeah.
But now he's back in town and Elizabeth is there and she ain't happy. Yeah. And now there's all these killings happening and I don't know. She seems kind of like, so?
Yeah, she's like, this is normal. I know, it's a little too suspicious on how okay she is with everything. She's like, meh, it's fine.
And Mr. Barron hiding something too. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the whole town knows about this. But now, as these soldiers are getting killed, they're just keeping to themselves, huh?
I know.
They're not even offering any hope. It's just this councilman person that's like, hey, man, I got your back. Let's do this thing.
Yeah, they're like, can we just get out of here? This place is crazy. We're all going to die. Ah!
Yeah, and it gets creepier.
Yeah, dude. honestly, I really do feel like the author does a really good job in such a short span of time, delivering so much information with like more showing than telling, I suppose.
Yeah, you could tell like their personalities, how they're feeling, the interactions
like,
between everyone.
Quickly, like a page, you've had so much going on, so much happening, but it doesn't seem like wordy at all. It's well written for sure.
Yeah, and this creature in the night is always like around midnight. And of course, it's getting close to Halloween.
Right.
All this crazy
all
stuff.
the creepy stuff happens. Dude, I love it. And it's, I don't know, I just felt like this was like the perfect Halloween short read. Really cool. Like it gets you in the Halloween vibes, or at least horror vibes. So if you want a little spookiness or something scary and creepy, for sure.
Yeah, with some history.
Yeah.
And
like boo bitches. Wait, how much time did we do? Is it 10 minutes?
I think it's enough, but I want to read a quote.
Okay. Of course you do.
16. Probably 4 of that is nothing, so.
Okay.
Alright, Tony, I'm going to read a quote. You can put it wherever. It could fit in at the end, or it could fit in between.
It's a scream.
Or do you want to read it? You're better at reading stuff.
I'm not.
Yeah, you are.
A scream in the distance woke me from my dream. It was midnight. I grabbed my carbine. Is that carbine?
Carbine.
I grabbed my carbine, exited the tent, moved our flag out of my way, and ran toward the direction of the scream. It was a repeat of the night before. I was the first one at the scene this time, except there was no body to be found. The dirt revealed that there had been a struggle. There was blood everywhere, and fresh dirt had been turned up during the fight. I looked closer. The soldier had been dragged away into the darkness of the nearby woods. Of the nearby woods. I don't know. It just sounds weird when I say that. Of the nearby woods.
Yeah.
I feel like it has to sound more creepy.
Woods.
Yeah, his body was dragged in the nearby woods. Bah, bah. I don't know. Sound like I was dying.
My God. Yeah, so it just, I don't know, man. If I was some of those soldiers, I would have just...
Dude, I would have bounced so bad. They would have just, I would have been like, just kill me now as a, what do they call it?
Deserter?
A deserter. Just, I'm done. Like, what the hell is
shot,
killing us?
get arrested, or get a damn werewolf too.
Yeah, nah. I'm not, because a lot of them were like, werewolves? You're fucking shitting me. You're crazy. There's no way there's werewolves that are real. But I'm like, dude, what? I mean, werewolf or not, that was scary. I wouldn't want to be there or a part of any of that.
Come on. Trained soldiers, you're all on watch, and then someone still goes missing.
Yeah, and people are just screaming, like getting taken out one by one.
Slaughtered, dragged, there's blood everywhere.
No thanks. Scary.
And this captain's still like, nah, that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
He's brave. Good guy.
Or just totally oblivious. I don't know.
Yeah, sorry.
All right, ready? All right. Thanks for hanging out with us, guys, and be sure to check out the Beast of Talbotton, An All Hallows Eve Tale by Kevin Matthew Hayes. I said that way better.
Good.
The Beast of Talbotton.